Are you overwhelmed with your homeschool planning? Maybe you are spending hours every thinking about curriculum choices, how you're going to break it up into lesson plans, and getting yourself all organized for this new school year. If that's the case, I'd like you to invite you to watch with me in today's episode. I'm Dolly Freeman. I'm the host of Influencing Your Kids Show. And today I'm going to be talking with you about shortcutting your homeschool planning time. If that sounds like of interest, you're in the right place, and I look forward to interacting with you at the end of today's training. Before I get started, I want to tell you a little bit about why I'm so passionate about shortcutting your homeschool planning time. And it relates to how many hours I was using or planning every homeschool year from the very beginning, starting in 1999. I literally spent the entire summer and even months before that researching curriculum. But once I got all of the curriculum in my hands, I would spend months agonizing over how to plan it and what I need to be doing each and every day and putting it in a place that made my job as a homeschooling mom with someone that was yet to homeschool. This is when we had two kids, and still having this little guy underfoot and trying to make sure that I have all the pieces together. Well, over the years, I found that taking my homeschooling curriculum that I had purchased to the pool with me, with our two children, for them to enjoy those summer days while I sat at the picnic table, literally with my crock pot plugged in next to me, I would sit there and I would begin to plan out how I was going to put together all the curriculum choices into one planning. And when I tell you that I spent the entire summer, literally from the time the pool opened until the time the pool closed, I was literally pulling our cooler in, my box of books, those boxes on wheels. I had all of my stuff in there. And our children would be playing. My youngest at the time would be taking his nap while I was, after lunch, he would take a nap on the lounge chair next to me, and I would keep planning. And this is just how I did it for years until our third child was due at the end of June. I knew I couldn't do this every year, not with a baby. It just required too much. And so, as I was loving those summer months because our children really enjoyed the pool actually closed that last year. And so I knew I needed a different system because the pool wasn't there to help me. And I literally didn't want to spend my entire year watching my kids play instead of getting in the pool intentionally and having hours of enjoyment with them, instead of waiting till my husband came to the pool to have what I put in the crock pot and enjoy the evening hours with us at the pool. That's what my life looked like when I was spending so many hours over months planning my homeschooling. It really felt like a full time job to me. Can you relate? Do you feel like planning for your children's homeschooling feels like a full time job? If so, I have some tips today that will really make an effort in shortcutting your planning time. So, let me talk to you a little bit about what that looked like and how I plan today. I literally went from spending months homeschooling. And when I'm talking close to 8 hours a day during the summer months, I'm not joking. In that period, it all stemmed to get me very skilled in mastering to how to plan my own curriculum that I had designed from scratch. Now, I have to tell you, it wasn't something that happened overnight, but when you get that third child into that realm of your family or another baby on the way, it does make you become more intentional. And what I began to develop back in those early years developed into something that now takes me 4 hours to plan an elementary year, 6 hours to plan middle school years, and 8 hours to plan high school years. Now, when I say years, I'm talking 1 year for per child. So imagine if you learn this skill that I'm about to talk to you a little bit about and give you a little insight of what that looks like, going from planning months, spending 6 to 8 hours a day planning, and then getting it down to literally taking a weekend and planning one child, elementary for 4 hours, middle school for 6 hours, and high school for 8 hours. It's not going to happen overnight. That will happen as you get the skill of planning your own curriculum. So, even with all this work at the very beginning, I was still making mid year curriculum changes. Now, I don't know if you've ever made curriculum changes mid year, or if you're so good at choosing curriculum that you no longer make those changes. Good for you. But at that time, I was just not very confident with my choices. I knew how to plan them, but I got to this place where I began to see struggles in our homeschooling and believed that the problem was the curriculum, instead of recognizing, wait, there's something else going behind the scenes here. And when I began to realize the curriculum wasn't the challenge, I realized that I had to focus on the things that were really causing the struggles. And that was the things my children were delayed in. Now, when you have discovered how to plan for each child and how to spark vital interest in the curriculum choices that I made, and how to push those through the struggles with strengths, you eliminate those mid-year curriculum changes. Now, I, over the years, have still made curriculum changes, but it's usually one thing, one book versus a whole curriculum, one book every maybe 2 or 3 years per child. It's not all the time. And it's only because that particular thing just did not spark enough interest. So I still allow myself to alternate some things. But what I want to dive into is to let you know of how to shortcut these. So if you don't have a pen and paper, I really want you to encourage you to get that, because what I'm about to share with you is going to make a big difference in how you do that. All right. So the first thing is the best time-saving task that I want you to start doing today is create a wholesome curriculum planner. What I mean by that is I want you to start thinking about the subjects that your children are going to be learning about over their entire educational time. And in that, I want you to begin planning out different wholesome curriculum that you see along the way. Now, if you've ever gone to a wholesome a curriculum fair, a used book fair, or even a homeschool curriculum or homeschool conference that has a curriculum vendors there, I want you to start taking this with you. My daughter and I would go to used book sales. We would look to see what it was that we had already purchased, what it is that we are still looking for. I have been known to call my husband or my son and say, go check the shelves to see if I have this book, because I'm not sure if I bought this book or not. I felt like I bought it. And there were sometimes I would buy two and then realize later. So we really developed this system of having this wholesome curriculum planner, in the fact that it's not the planner for the school year. It's my planner for what I call my Charlotte Mason library, or my non-consumable library, things that I can buy once and use multiple times for multiple children. So as I started to write these things down, when I saw something that was wonderful, but I wasn't ready for it then, or I could see using it down the road because it really looked like it would be a perfect living resource for our children, it went into this planner. It helped me to be able to put all of those wonderful suggestions into one place, and help me to be able to take this with me and be intentional about the things that I was purchasing. Now, what I had found is it saved us hundreds of dollars, but it also helped reduce the time that it took me to plan, because I would then look in to see, what did I already research, already give thumbs up to, and use that to help with my planning. Now, the second thing is, back in my day, in the 1990s, and early 2000s, I didn't have social media. I had the internet, and we used forums back then. Now social media is amazing. So what I want you to do now is to use this as to help you to better use social media. We spend hours on social media every day. Imagine if you had this wholesome curriculum planner near you and allowed you to be able to hear someone say, oh, this is a really good resource. This is a great living book. We loved this literature book, or we loved this history research, or this science book. And you began to put that inside your wholesome curriculum planner as it's being said to you. make a little note of maybe who it was suggested. So if you have more questions, you can follow up with them later. But more importantly, it's there for you when you go and research. You'll have these ideas already in front of you to help save a lot of time. Can you see how this would help you in this process? And then also, the secret to save hundreds of hours, and I hope you listen to me. If you're a little distracted, come back here, because this is the key in how I'm able to condense so many hours spent down to literally spending one Saturday a month per child. And depending on where they are in their educational path will tell me how long I need to spend for them. And the secret is this: plan once, and then once you've planned that, reuse it for the next child. What I'm saying is, I made curriculum. I wrote out a whole curriculum plan for biology and for chemistry and for creation studies. I have done all of that work for my very first child. Guess what? My second child went through the same plans. My third child went through the same plans. And my fourth child will go through the same plans. So when you become very intentional and you put those hours into finding those resources, making those plans once for a child, and knowing how to grow interest in that plan, when you already know it's a subject that must be done, then all of a sudden, you have saved yourself a whole lot of time. It's kind of like when you menu plan and you reuse the same menu again and again. Why are you not doing that with your lesson plans? Reuse the same lesson plan again and again for each child by pouring your heart and energy and effort into that very first one, not being quick about creating those plans. These box curriculums out there, these are done because someone took the time and they went and did it for you, and now they're reselling those intentional plans to you. So imagine if you just took a step back, breathed a little bit, said, you know what, I am going to do the best planning I can do on this subject, and then reuse it for each and every one. Reuse the same books. All of a sudden you're saving money, not just time. Right? And then you're going to reuse it. And what I love about this is when a child sees, this has happened in our home many, many times, when our child sees that they get to do the same thing their older sibling did a year or 2 or 3 or 4 years behind them, they get excited. We have journals in our home that I pull out, and I've been able to say, here's a perfect example of what it is that I would like to see you emulate inside your lessons and how that looks. Now, I would be doing you a disservice if I didn't tell you about one thing before I get into the comments. I want to help you shortcut your homeschool planning time. And to do that, I would love to invite you to go look at our grade notebooks. This is all of the efforts that I have put forth has created this skeleton, so to speak, of lesson plans. And once I developed this, all I had to do is do the time and the effort into creating those plans. And I do drop them into this skeleton by giving them the meat of their lessons and what I planned, and be able to just hand it over and give them their own ownership. So if you have yet to look at our grade notebooks, go to gradenotebooks.com. It will really help you shortcut your family's time in your lessons, as well as giving them all the efforts that they need along the way. Now, I'm going to get into the comments here and answer any questions with you guys. So hello, Elizabeth. It's nice to have you here. If you have a question about shortcutting your time and what it is that I shared with you, I'd love to answer your questions. Now, let me tell you a little bit more as you think about your wholesome curriculum planner. I want you to really be intentional about what it is that you're going to be really excited about. Also put in the things like, this was the book sale that I went to. By just jotting down where you're seeing these resources, it'll help, because let's remember, we sleep a couple times in between the years. So you might forget where it was that you saw this resource. So put that into place as well, so that you know exactly where to go. You could use that time to also look to see if other places sell it at a better price. So instead of having to look again and again for a whole lot of resources you've already seen, now you can spend the time in being diligent of looking for the right price instead of still looking for the curriculum. All right, I am not seeing any comments today, but I'll stay on for a couple more minutes and just see if I see anything else there. I'm real excited because next week is my last time talking to you about curriculum. Now, I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm still struggling with a little bit of a concussion problem, so I'm having a hard time with short memory. Um, but what I want you to know, next week is my last topic for planning. So I want you to show up and I want you to come in and be excited about this topic, because in the end, the better we plan each and every year, the better we're going to become at the skill of giving our children not only wholesome influences, but helping them form the habits of motivation, responsibility, accountability, self-management, and self-directions. All of these habits are necessary in order for your children to become self-disciplined. So why not do your due diligence as you're planning out the best curriculum for a wholesome curriculum for your children and giving them ownership over it? I cannot wait to see you guys making efforts each and every year. And I hope to see you next week at the same time. Same channel, 2 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. I'll see you there. Bye bye.